Good evening and welcome to a program devoted entirely to Lefties Losing It. Bad news for MSNBC. Their ratings were already low, but they have plummeted even further. In the crucial 25 to 54 age demographic, MSNBC has seen its ratings plunge 41% during prime time and 34% across the total broadcast day, compared with just a year ago. Now, this is according to leaked ratings figures, and I can't imagine why.
We finished
it's a
the
wrap.
first episode.
It's a wrap. It's a wrap. I need a drink. I need a drink. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. And we're going to eat. We're going to drink. We're going to party. We're going to eat. We're going to drink. And we're going to be back tomorrow.
Meanwhile, in the back, they're like working.
Okay, come back.
Why isn't there show rating? It's a mystery. And the host to suffer the most humiliating collapse is Jen Psaki. Let's have a look.
The speeches are getting much more disturbing and much more unhinged, and we should all hear it that way.
Now to CNN, who would have been none too happy about airing an interview where a hostage held by Hamas made it clear that the terrorists wanted Kamala Harris to win the election.
Scared of him. Yeah, they wanted...
Who?
The terrorists.
We're afraid of Trump.
Yeah, they wanted Kamala to be chosen, to be elected.
You talked politics with them?
Yeah. They wanted Kamala to be elected. When Trump became president, yeah, the way they treated us changed. For me, personally, this is what I
think
felt.
because they anticipated that a deal would come soon.
Yeah.
And that's when they started giving you more food.
Exactly. More food, treated me better, stopped cursing me, stopped spitting on me.
Now to the Hollywood elite. Here are some pearls of wisdom from Idris Elba, who thinks he knows how to stop knife crime in the UK. Let's ban all those pointy kitchen knives.
The truth is that kitchen knives are perhaps 25% of the knives used in most of the terrible crimes. That's one of the stats in the films. And those kitchen knives are usually a domestic situation, okay? So kitchen knives, of course, it's very difficult. They're a domestic knife. I do think there is areas of innovation that we can do with kitchen knives. I hate to say it, not all kitchen knives need to have a point on them. That sounds like a crazy thing to say, but actually it would reduce. You can still cut your food without the point on the knife, which is an innovative way to sort of look at it. And in a country in crisis, I'm sorry, but yeah, let's look at that.
Oh yes, genius idea there. Maybe we can ban forks next. Now to Dylan Mulvaney. He's back, and this time he's promoting fashion label Jean Paul Gaultier. Dylan taking more jobs from women. The patriarchy always wins. Now, a lot has been said about Democrat-appointed activist judges, lawfare, and even the term judicial insurrection is starting to gain hold. Here is a judge not talking about constitutional matters, but the importance of judges looking like the offenders. This is Judge Cassandra Collier-Williams.
I thought that it was important that, especially in criminal cases, where when you have people that on one side of the bench, they can look at the judge and say, wow, she looks like me, then maybe I have a better shot.
Yep, that's really important. By the way, the judge's own son is in jail for murdering his wife, shooting her in the head 3 times. Let's check in now with brave women's rights warrior Kelly J. Keane. She is a great champion of women, and she's in the US to fight against the excesses of the trans movement. But the young woman interviewing her here insists that Kelly J. Keane call men trans women.
A man who calls himself a woman is not one, that you shouldn't transition children.
So how are trans women infringing on cis women's spaces?
So men in women's spaces makes it no longer a women's space, so we don't have a right to a woman's space if a man is allowed in it.
Have you ever felt personally unsafe with a trans woman in your presence?
Have I felt unsafe with men in my presence? Yes, 100%.
Trans women?
Yeah, men. So that would be free speech. If you say you're for free speech and you're trying to police my speech to call a man, then you wouldn't be for free speech, would you? Are you for free speech?
Thank you for your time.
I guess not. Very upsetting.
And here is Kelly J. Keane telling women in burqas, those dehumanising Muslim modesty garments, to free themselves. You gotta love her.
Free yourselves, ladies. Free your faces. Free yourselves.
And exciting news, folks. There's a new pronoun in town. Yes, it's flow and flows. Here's how you use it.
Today's pronoun of the day is flow flows. Remember that these pronouns were requested by someone who does currently use them or intends to use them in the future. The word flow suggests fluidity, movement, change, which can be important symbols for gender. Alright, now let's see how to use these pronouns in a conversation. I miss Kim so much. Have you seen Flo today? Yeah, I ran into Flo at the library earlier today. Flo was working on Flo's presentation for tomorrow. Oh nice, I've been meaning to ask if Flo needs any help with it. I think Flo would really appreciate that. Flo said that it's been really hard to handle all by Flo's self.
And I don't know how to apologise for what I'm about to show you, but just know this hurts me as much as it's going to hurt you. Let's have a look at Trump-deranged Rosie O'Donnell, who has fled the country because of POTUS, but she has returned from Ireland to film this hot mess for Sex and the City spin-off, Just Like That. Enough talking, let's just dive right in.
It felt so, I don't know, electric, and yet still so natural. I never dreamed my first time could be both those things.
First time?
Mm-hmm.
You were a virgin?
Yes, I'm a nun.
Yes, that was Rosie O'Donnell playing a virgin nun called Mary, who ends up in bed with Miranda, played by Cynthia Nixon, the worst character on Sex and the City, I think you'll agree. And that show jumped the shark many, many moons ago. But at least Rosie O'Donnell and Cynthia Nixon could share their deranged hatred of Trump together in between takes. Both are ardent Trump haters and mothers of non-binary or trans children. Remember, Cynthia Nixon boasted about having her daughter's healthy breasts removed. They call it top surgery.
My trans kid had his top surgery at NYU a number of years ago. Wow. His doctors were fantastic. His surgeon was the best we could have imagined.
It's time to check in with Joe Biden. The former president has his good days and he has his bad days, but every day is a delusional day. Listen to this.
And there's also been a lot of discussion recently about your mental and physical capabilities while you were in office.
You can see that. I'm mentally incompetent and I can't walk and I can beat the hell out of both of them.
Do you want to reply to any of those reports and also to the fact that there are some Democrats who are now questioning whether you should have run for re-election in the first place?
Why didn't they run against me then? Because I'd have beaten them.
Do you have any regrets?
No, I don't have any regrets.
Now, Elon Musk has had enough of his fellow billionaires talking trash. Listen here as he gives Bill Gates an almighty spray after Gates made all sorts of unfounded claims about USAID. He starts by calling Gates a liar.
He's a huge liar.
I know, you've said that already. I wondered...
Also,
and I'm just...
Who does Bill Gates think he is to make comments about the welfare of children, given that he frequented Jeffrey Epstein?
Okay, well, he said he regrets those, and he spent a lot of his own money on philanthropy around the world over the years. My question to you is, have you looked at the data to check if he might be right that the cuts to USAID might cost millions of lives?
Yes. I'd like him to show us any evidence whatsoever.
None whatsoever. And Bono, you know him from U2, he was making the same BS claims on Joe Rogan, and Rogan was not having it.
Just recent report. It's not proven, but the surveillance enough suggests 300,000 people have already died from just this cut off, this hard cut of USAID.
The problem is for sure, there have been a lot of organizations that do tremendous good all throughout the world. Also, for sure, it was a money laundering operation. For sure, there was no oversight. For sure, billions of dollars are missing. In fact, trillions that are unaccounted for, that were sent off into various, they don't even know where because there's no receipts. The way Elon Musk described it, he said if any of this was done by a public company, the company would be delisted and the executives would be in prison. But in the United States, this is standard. When Biden left office, when it was clear that Trump won, in the 73 days, they spent $93 billion from the Department of Energy on just radical loans, just throwing money into places. Right. And there's no oversight.
Well, folks, it's June, and that means it's Pride Month, and they started celebrating early in West Hollywood. Not sure that's suitable for young kids in the audience there, but it's not just the public nudity, it's the corporate virtue signalling we're going to see in the coming weeks. Yes, a whole month of far-left foolishness, but for some, it's never enough. Watch this Karen whine about Target getting rid of their LGBTQIA++ display and replacing it with a pro-American one.
Happy Pride Month. In my Target that used to have the Pride section, it's now all USA. Yay. USA, woo! And honestly, my dad serves in the military, and I'd love to be really proud of this nation, but it's hard to be proud of it under Donald Trump. But hey, you know, while you're here, pick up a USA bikini. You know, why not? Yeah, Target's really taken this anti-DEI thing to another level.
Oh dear, God forbid anyone should have pride in their country. I'm sure your granddad risked his life so Target could sell breast binders to young girls. Now, we've seen morale and recruitment numbers in the US Army soar in recent months after President Donald Trump's election triumph. And get ready to see those numbers soar further because the ad campaigns have changed a bit. They've gone from this under the Biden administration.
Although I had a fairly typical childhood, took ballet, played violin, I also marched for equality. I like to think I've been defending freedom from an early age.
Yep, that was under Biden. This is the latest ad.
No more distractions. No more electric tanks, no more gender confusion, no more climate change worship. We are laser focused on our mission of warfighting.
We will measure our success not only by the battles we win, but also by the wars we end, and perhaps most importantly, the wars we never get into. It's called peace through strength. Through our power and might, we will lead the world to peace. Our friends will respect us, our enemies will fear us, and the whole world will admire the unrivaled greatness of the United States military. We will replenish the pride of our armed forces, end the recruitment crisis.
We don't fight because we hate what's in front of us. We fight because we love what's behind us.
God bless you. God bless our armed forces. God bless our men and women serving overseas. And God bless the United States of America.
Greta Thunberg, she's heading to Gaza on a boat. You think the people in that region have suffered enough, but no, now they have the little Swedish doom goblin en route to the war zone to save the day.
We'll attempt to again sail towards Gaza and to try to break the siege and open up a humanitarian corridor by delivering aid. Keep trying everything we can, even if the odds are against us, to try to protest and do everything we can to stand against Israel's atrocities and war crimes.
And Greta Thunberg got a little bit emotional, or at least she tried to, when describing the goals of the Freedom Flotilla. really need to keep these theatre kids out of geopolitics.
We are doing this because no matter what odds we are against, we have to keep trying, because the moment we stop trying is when we lose our humanity. And no matter how dangerous this mission is, it is nowhere near as dangerous as the silence of the entire world.
Now just imagine the arrogance, the delusion, the spectacular stupidity of believing that the Israelis or even Hamas give a flying fruit bat about what Greta and her bunch of weirdo, nose ring wearing, pronoun announcing lefty mates think.
We're on the Madeleine. We have been trying to sail to Gaza with aid, with solidarity and love for so long, and we are one huge step closer to getting to Gaza now.
And it was all fun and games and sing-alongs for a while.
Break the siege of the silence when they hide their children.
But as Greta and her mates neared the border, they spotted drones, and then came the calls for help.
Hello everyone, we are reporting here from the Madeleine. We are right now at 80 kilometers from Greek lands and 68 kilometers from Greek territorial borders. What happened is that we just spotted a drone, and we confirmed it is a drone, but we just lost visual with it. We could have either turned back or turned off the lights. We need your help. Please send this distress signal to everyone. We need your support right now.
Now, this is an exciting development. Apparently, you can just serve yourself chicken nowadays if the servers take too long. Watch as this woman with a baby on her hip loses it at a church's chicken outlet.
Oh, my girl clowning bad. My girl fixing her own order. I am. All right.
Wait, no. No, give me my mother. And I'm gonna take her. Around these. Girl. It ain't working.
You know, I don't mind that. I'm always getting these breast and wing pieces when I want to get leg and thighs, maybe if I'm helping myself. Let's talk about the Democrats now. They're not doing too well. Trump is flying in the polls, particularly when it comes to economic performance.
Plus 8-point advantage for the Republican Party. How is that possible, Democrats? How is that possible after all the recession fears, after the stock market's been doing all of this, after all the tariffs that Americans are against, and Republicans still hold an 8-point lead on the economy? Are you kidding me?
This is new CNN polling.
Yes.
How is that, when we look for trends, how is that trending with other data that you're pulling in?
Yeah, if it was just this one CNN poll, that would be one thing. But take a look at Reuters Ipsos. What do we see here? Party with a better economic plan. Well, in May of 2024, just before Donald Trump was reelected president, Republicans had a 9-point advantage. Look at where we are now in May of 2025. The advantage actually went up by 3 points.
But the Democrats and their propaganda, I'm including the painfully unfunny comics on late-night TV shows, are in total denial. Listen to this deranged discussion between Bernie Sanders and Stephen Colbert. These people exist in a sad parallel universe of their own. Get ready for a Hitler analogy here.
But also, we cannot wait. We have to have mass protests, mobilization, and disruption. Is that what it's going to take? Because, again, there's 520 more days.
The truth of the matter is, I don't care if you are a conservative Republican or a progressive as I am. You do not believe... I mean, you just stop and think about it. Think about the men and women who fought and died against Hitler, fought and died against fascism, fought and died to defend American democracy. And I think the vast majority of the American people, regardless of the ideology, are not and cannot and must not sit back and allow us to move into an authoritarian type society where people get picked up off the streets and put in detention centers? Really? In the United States of America?
Just absolute derangement there from Bernie. The American people overwhelmingly support deportation of illegal immigrants, all illegal immigrants, Bernie. Now, we've already checked in on crazy Bernie Sanders. Let's see how Eric Swalwell is travelling. This is the man best known for dating a Chinese spy. He just released this bizarre video. See if you can understand what the Democrats, what Eric is trying to achieve here.
congressman.
Can I help you?
What the is up with Trump always chickening out on tariffs?
Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
And we've got some gems for you tonight. Let's start with the Democrats finally realising they have a problem with young men. Yes, young men have abandoned the party in droves, and the Dems think they have just the woman to lure them back.
As the saying goes, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu.
Yes, that's Democrat operative influencer Olivia Juliana, and she loves young men. She loves the frat boys, and she thinks she understands them and how to bring them back to the Democrats.
I spend a lot of time on college campuses, and I spend a lot of time with
young men.
I love young men. I love frat guys. And in that, I realized, like, even the ones that identify as conservative are almost always pro-choice. They're almost always pro-gay marriage. You'd be surprised at the number of them who supported Black Lives Matter.
Yes, I'm sure conservative young men are huge backers of the neo-Marxist, anti-American, anti-police movement known as BLM. And I'm sure this will see them return to the Democrats in huge numbers.
I'm angry that the ocean is on fire in 3 different places, and we have billionaires who are racing to see who can get to space faster. The same billionaires who don't pay their workers fairly, the same billionaires who don't pay their fair share in taxes.
Yeah, that ain't gonna work. Now, here is a law professor and wife of MSNBC host Chris Hayes, Kate Shaw, who decided to lie or at least mislead Senator John Kennedy from the great state of Louisiana, and that was a mistake. Big mistake. Huge.
You said there are some members of the Supreme Court that are evil. Which justices were you talking about?
I'll take it your word, Senator. I don't recall using that word, but...
All right, here's what you said. You were talking about the majority opinion in Muldrow v. City of St. Louis. You said, quote, Justice Kagan, will she be able to control the opinion's future distortion by her evil colleagues? Probably not, end quote. Who were you talking about?
Sir, I'm very skeptical. If there's a transcription, it was probably a transcription error. I do not think I said...
No, you said it. Why don't you own up to it? Which you call some of the members of the Supreme Court evil. Now, which ones do you think are evil?
I would have to refresh my recollection. I've been very critical of some members of the Supreme Court.
You're embarrassed that you made that statement, aren't you?
I'm
you're an officer
it doesn't sound like something that I would say.
You know what I'm embarrassed at? That you're teaching our kids.
I don't refer to Supreme Court justices as evil in the classroom,
on
sir.
On your podcast, April 22nd, 2024.
Okay, well,
big as Dallas. And you're an officer of the court, and you're here advising us to be respectful to federal judges? And you say they're evil members of the United States Supreme Court? Gag me with a spoon.
Gag me with a spoon, indeed. How many times did she lie or mislead there, claiming she never said it? It was a transcription error. It's not language she'd use. Well, Professor Shaw, as the kids say, here is the receipt. And by the way, she said this only last year.
Good result. Deftly constructed opinion by Justice Kagan. Will she be able to control its potential future distortion by her evil colleagues?
Now, this is how you handle the leftist activist media. You do not allow them to play linguistic games. Don't allow them to obscure the truth by using their preferred terms that are inaccurate and designed to manipulate. Watch Stephen Miller on CNN give a masterclass on how you handle these activists.
An undocumented migrant sent a letter threatening to kill the president, promising to self-deport after the assassination. CNN reporting shows that investigators believe the migrant was set up. It was a victim of a setup. What is the administration going to do now? And this is an undocumented immigrant. I do want to note that. But this was someone who came forward, was a victim of a crime, and now law enforcement believes he was set up. Go ahead.
Well, I want to clarify what you mean, so we're talking about the same thing. Are you saying this immigrant was here illegally?
Yes, but I am, and that's why I said that. I clarified
because
that.
You said undocumented, and I wasn't clear what that means. I'm assuming they have a fake ID. I'm assuming they have a fake Social Security number.
That's neither here nor there. That's getting away from the question, Stephen. I want this to be, and call me naive, a good faith discussion about what's happening right now.
But when we use language that's designed to obscure the truth, that's not good faith.
An illegal alien is
an illegal alien. They're not an undocumented migrant.
Okay, that's fine.
Yes, that is fine. Don't let the left play these word games to deliberately conceal the truth, to manipulate. Remember, he who controls the language controls the masses. Don't be controlled. And the lawfare with the Democrats has never stopped. It didn't ultimately work in stopping President Donald Trump from being re-elected, but now that he is in power, the Democrats are again using and misusing the courts and Democrat-appointed judges to undermine the president's power and to usurp the will of the American people. Here is Democrat Rep. Laura Friedman explaining it all.
Every single week, we have a litigation working group where a large group of us, and I'm talking there's maybe 75 members of the House, sit down every single week with the AGs to talk about legal strategy. This is all going on every single week behind the scenes. It is nonstop talk, nonstop introduction of bills and legislation.